ladies and gentlemen, the Live and Let Die comedy dining experience will not be shown to you tonight, as instead we examine a load of old bollocks. Ben, what the fuck was this?
This is the greatest film ever made. Let's crack on.
1967's Casino Royale. Starring.
Let
me get my list.
Let me just
We'll start with.
You should just shuffle some papers at that point. Starring.
We'll start with A.
Aaron A. Aronson. This follows in the tradition of films that make no sense, completely nonsensical, and have everyone in them.
Yes, absolutely. This is distinctly a head stroke Spice World kind of movie, and it freaked me out.
It's my happening.
So Ben, as well, also should mention we are recording this on Thanksgiving Day, and do you have anything to be thankful for this year?
I don't know. We don't celebrate Thanksgiving, Dan. Why bring it up?
Because today is the day that all of the people on my timeline keep posting pictures of their delicious turkey dinners, and because I'm British, I can't have a delicious turkey dinner until the 25th of December.
Well,
the law.
I was going to say there's no actual law prohibiting you from eating a turkey dinner on one specific day. In fact, yeah, you can have a turkey dinner. Christmas.
Yeah, the 25th of December. I've got to wait like another 3 or 4 weeks before I can have it. If you eat a turkey dinner out of season in the UK, you get a £10 fine.
But they don't. You don't go into a shop and say, "Can I have some turkey?" And then they just look at you and spit at you and say, "Get out now."
My butcher does.
Your butcher is a heathen. Right.
You will have British beef, and that is it.
You will get foot and mouth whether you like it or not.
Sunshine. So yes, we're doing 1967's Casino Royale, not to be confused with the Daniel Craig version, and we're doing this to kind of tie off the Sean Connery era and the 60s and all that gubbins in one fell swoop before we dive headfirst into a slice of pure 70s. So, we're queued up on a black screen. We have the MGM Lion. Ben, are you ready with the roars?
Ready and willing.
Excellent. Right, we will count you in then. On 3, 2, 1, and play.
Raw. I did like a groovy raw.
Very nice.
Tie in. This film was directed by Les Beatles.
Les Beatles was my favourite director.
Yes. Sean Connery wouldn't have had this.
Immediately would have had the print destroyed.
Yes, he would be not having it. He'd be getting up and throwing his toupee at the screen.
The chairs would be ripped up from the screening room floor and thrown across the room. He'd be shouting something about a Bordelais 57.
Does that really count as
for young and old?
Does that really count as an intro sequence? Nothing really of interest happens. It's more of a flash forward than anything, and suddenly now we're watching the titles.
Yes.
Starring Peter Sellers for about half an hour.
Yes. And Ursula Andress for quite a bit more. And David Niven for pretty much the whole film.
Yeah, he should really get top billing, but more on C Ego : Peter Sellers later. But yeah, these titles are fab, and I mean that in the true sense of the word.
I really like them. They've got a little bit of a
starring Uddy Allen.
Ooh, Uddy Allen. And Ebra Kerr.
Ebra Kerr, my favourite. Iliam Holden, like him. Hals Boyer. On Houston.
They've got a little bit of the Terry Gilliam about him.
John, the guy from Breathless. He has top billing and he's in it right at the end. Ah, yes.
So,
Nicholas Rogue.
Oh, yes, of Don't Look Now fame.
Yes, that's what I mean. Every single person. I think I directed a bit of this.
We did, if you remember. Ours was the bit set in the back street, the grotty bombed out back streets with Bernard Cribbins.
I filmed one shot of this. It was Ursula Andress in the shower.
I actually directed one frame of this film. Just one frame.
And then they cut it out in the end.
They did. It was in the work print though. Got bootlegged.
Oh God, what would the work print of this film have been like?
It would run for 16 hours long.
Jesus Christ.
And would probably make about half as much sense.
They probably had enough material for that as well, I'd imagine.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I just...
And you've got, I mean, come on, you've got Burt Bacharach and Herb Albert and everyone doing the music.
I really like this theme tune, and they do get the money's worth.
Sorry, Urt Bacharach and Herb Albert and the Marijuana Brass.
And Usty Springfield.
Oh, I love Usty Springfield.
Mm.
Based on a novel by Anne Fleming.
I think this is probably the best Bond title sequence I've seen so far.
I like to think when Ian Fleming wrote the gritty, dark spy thriller that was Casino Royale, this is very much what he had in mind.
So this film was produced between, let me get this right, between You Only Live Twice and Thunderball?
Well, it came out the same... Yeah, that's actually right, yeah, because it came out the same year as You Only Live Twice, 1967. And I guess we should get into why this film exists.
Please do. I'm basically, the rest of this commentary is going to be me going, Ben, why?
Well, basically,
and then I'll hope that you'll be able to fill in the
gap.
The
reason this is because basically when Ian Fleming wrote Casino Royale, he actually sold the rights to that novel. That was the first Bond novel. There is literally 0 point talking about what happens in the novel. It has nothing to do with this film, so we won't do that. But like literally nothing whatsoever, apart from there's a man called James Bond. Well, there's several people called James Bond in it. But he sold the rights separately to a guy called Gregory Ratoff, big film producer. Mm-hmm. And then, unfortunately, before Gregory Ratoff could actually get any funding for the project, he died. And the rights were acquired by a chap called Charles K. Feldman. And the original intention, he didn't buy them with the intention of doing a nonsense film, which is what this film, the genre of this film is. Like, you know, on Netflix, and it's like, browse horror, action, comedy, sci-fi. This film is nonsense. It's in the nonsense category.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Verified.
Yeah. And the idea was he was going to do basically a straight adaptation of the novel. This was before Dr. No came out. But what happened was he tried to do a deal with Cubby Broccoli, who already had the rights to all the other stories. That didn't happen for various reasons. Just typical Hollywood bollocks, basically. And then what happened was that I just lost my train of thought. I just realized when M's getting attacked by the lions, I lost my train of thought. So basically what happened was Dr. No came out, and then From Russia with Littlefinger, and the spy craze happened. And Charles K. Feldman realised that there was no point trying to beat Eon at their own game. So I'm not sure what the thought process was that went from that to let's just make a film about absolutely nothing. But that's what happened.
I mean, like I say, we always try and at least I always try to pre-screen the Bond films because Ben's seen them all already. I always try to get at least one watch in before I do these commentaries, just to avoid me spending literally the entire commentary going, well, what's happening now? But with this film, even having watched it, I still feel like I'm going to be saying what's happening. Like, Ben, what's happening now?
David Niven is doing some sort of calisthenics in a chair while Alfred gets him whiskey.
Nice.
That's it's Alfred from Batman. That's the only way to describe that, really, isn't it?
It's either Alfred from Batman or the butler from Tomb Raider 2.
Interestingly, Ian Fleming was very keen on David Niven to actually play the part of Bond in Doctor No. They approached I know we talked about this on Doctor No, but they approached loads of people to play Bond, and David Niven was one of them. So, which, you know, he's pretty good. He does very well with what he's given, which is not much.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think he plays a retired Bond very, very well. If they had done like a Bond as pulled out of retirement type storyline in the main series and got Niven to play it, I'd have been quite happy with his. I think
he'd have been great.
Here, but
he'd have been great if you actually if he was cast in the quote unquote proper Bonds, and actually got to do a film that was had these little things called plots and stories and characters.
Absolutely.
But this film dispenses with such trivialities, Dan.
It's thinking 3D chess level of intricacies with the plot. If you don't get it, Ben, you just don't understand.
They've got the script pages every day. It's just a series of question marks over and over.
There's a French expressionist sat in the background, and every time anybody comes up with a question, he's just like, "Yes, but why?" like
Patrick Marbury in The Day to Day.
Yes.
It just keeps panning over to him. An old man sees God in his soup. He crashes.
Thin.
Yeah. Jacques Livreau wrote this film.
Yes. It's just every scene you could describe in that manner, and it would be perfectly understandable.
Pretty much.
But
so you've got John Huston playing M.
yes.
Famous director John Huston, who I guess was part of his thing for directing some of it. Oh, we should also mention this film has 5 directors.
Oh yeah. And when I watched this, I sent a message to Ben going, only 5? Because this is intense. This is a very intense watch.
It was actually probably more, because I believe there was some other stuff that went uncredited.
Blimey.
Yeah.
I mean, like I say, if anything, I find it really difficult to explain exactly how I feel about this film, because I don't hate it, but I don't like it either, and it feels like a load of films got into a fly pod, and when they came out the other side, they were this sort of amalgamated trash monster, and I'm trying to do the autopsy on it. And I just can't, because all of the fibres of these different elements of film genres are kind of fused together to create this unholy union.
It's a bit like being stuck in one of those sort of like, like at the those really creepy fun houses that you go to as a kid. It's like being trapped in one of them, but imagine you're like really pissed. Like, you've just been drinking cider all day, and one of these, the evil from Bloody New Year, has locked you in this fun house, and there's no escape, and every now and then someone just grabs you and shouts in your ear really violently, and that's accompanied by, now that's what I call 60s Exotica Volume 5. And
which I wouldn't mind if Cry No More was in it a bit more often, a bit of Recipe for Romance going on, but the Herb Alpert is very, very overwhelming.
David Niven rocks a bright white suit, much nicer than Sean Connery does, I'll say that.
Oh yeah, he is wearing that with a real zeal.
a real flair, real panache.
If he was walking down the beach, I could believe him as Bond.
Now, would it shock you that these the David Niven stuff actually was one of the last things to be shot? Because
really,
they'd shot the Peter Sellers stuff and the Orson Welles stuff, which we'll get into the chaos of that was Peter Sellers later, and they when they were sort of scrambling around desperately trying to think of a way to turn this into something, they came up with the idea very late on to have like a wraparound segments where we would establish that these are not real Bonds, they are a group of Bonds who have to disguise the real one. And that's when they came up with all this nonsense with David Niven and John Huston. I'm assuming John Huston directed all the stuff he's in.
See, I was envisioning it was the other way round. I was thinking that they'd sort of done these straight bits first and then they slowly lost the plot. But from the way you're describing it, it sounds like they'd already lost the plot, and then there came a breaking point where they were like, we've gone too far.
Well, like I say, that the film was from when they decided that they were going to basically make a spoof, that was sort of... They knew they were going to make something that was like lighthearted and funny and goofy. They weren't prepared for just how out of control it becomes. That was not conceived from the outset. So,
no.
If that shocks you.
And like I say, I had this point where like a load of people in suits were all sat in a boardroom going, perhaps we've done too much. Maybe we've gone too far.
I can't see there being any boardrooms. I'd love to have been a fly on the wall though when they presented the first cut of this to Columbia Pictures, and all like you say, all the businessmen are looking at it. You know what, as well. This had its premiere like all the Bond films. It had its like a big official premiere in Leicester Square, and the royals were there. Like Princess Margaret was there. Unfortunately, history does not record her reaction to this. The Queen watched this.
Right, that's going to be my question for them. If I ever meet the Queen or any of the royals, my first thing will be, you went to see a film called Casino Royale in the 60s. Why?
I can just picture just stony silence the rest of the night. Maybe kill some servants to cheer them up, So they just blew up Bond's house there. So that's
Charles, have David Niven killed, but sir, just do as I say.
Oh God. I mean, you wouldn't get Bernard Lee doing that.
No. No.
And now we
And so they just blew up Bond's house.
We meet the first of about 20,000 evil women henchmen in this film.
Yeah. This is... Why?
All the baddies, they're basically fembots. I'm sure that won't be the last Austin Powers reference we make.
No. Again, it was just one of those moments where I was sat watching it and going, so is she a good guy? Is she a bad guy? One of them's now in a convent? What is happening here?
You don't watch this film, Dan. It just kind of happens and you observe it.
Well, that's why I said to you that I got Real Robot and the Family vibes off it, because I was sat there going,
it's not that good.
I had exactly the same... I had exactly the same feelings of lost hopelessness watching this.
You certainly feel lost, that's for sure. There's no doubt there. Yeah, I mean, it's so far. I mean, if you were watching this back in the day, I mean, people knew going in that it was like a daft film, so it's not like they didn't go in expecting Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy, when they came out with this. And also Charles K. Feldman offered this to Sean Connery. He had the balls to offer it to Sean Connery. And Sean Connery, I think Sean, who obviously didn't want to do it, he quoted some ridiculous figure for the time. He said something like 5 million, or I'm not doing fucking any of it.
I just love the idea of him getting the script for You Only Live Twice and this on the same day, and just flicking through the pair of them, and going, "That's it, I'm not doing it. Get that Australian bloke in for the next one."
You mean I get to play a part of a monkey?
I'll only do it if I get to do any scenes with Woody Allen.
Maybe he was offended by all this stuff set in Scotland.
Yeah, well, God, this does rather go on a little bit.
I wonder at what point he's sitting there as a Bond fan in '67 going, not sure about this one, chaps.
Animal cruelty? ? Smiley face.
Yeah, but it was allowed back then.
No, all right then.
It was perfectly fine. It was like smoking and lynching. It was fine.
Oh, that's okay then, as long as it's acceptable. I mean, look what they did to that cat.
It was just like smoking and marrying 14-year-olds. It was all fine. That won't be the last Woody Allen reference I make in this one.
Then we've only just finished making reparations to the Americans for a Diamonds Are Forever commentary.
You know why they call him Woody Allen?
Go on.
Because that's his name. That's the name his mother gave him. These comments are alleged. They do not represent. All opinions are the opinions of Dan, as this is his channel, not mine. So if you have anything you wish to discuss, then please message him, not me.
You were hitting that censoring goal mark pretty quickly, Ben. I'm going to be honest with you.
Anything Ben says is not the responsibility of him. It is the responsibility of the host. The guest has no responsibility whatsoever. Please direct all comments to Dan. He lives at beep. See, I'm doing it early before you do.
Hey guys.
I mean, to be fair, though, this is quite clever on the villain's part, because if Sean Connery Bond, if Randy Grandpa was in this mansion of Scottish temptresses, he'd have shagged about 6 of them by now and already be dead.
Yeah, he'd have found the Liverpudlian out straight away. Just gone, I love you. Oh, you're right. Boom.
I get very sort of Carry On vibes from this opening bit.
Well, yeah, I mean, this was what I sent to you earlier. I sent a message saying something like it felt like Head, a James Bond film, and a Carry On film had all just cross-pollinated. It's very disturbing.
They went full-blown on the sort of quote-unquote psychedelic angle when they released it in America. I mean, I'm sure you've seen that poster with the girl with all psychedelic colours on.
No, I haven't.
Oh well, I imagine you'll probably use it like as the visual bit of this video. But it's a really cool poster. It's like a typical Bond girl with gun, but she's all done up in all psychedelic colours. They're clearly trying to cash in on the whole crazy zany vibe, trying to get something out of this monster they've created. And I think they advertised it in America. They didn't call it a premiere. They called it a happening. Literally.
Which is the exact words you want for this film, because I don't think it would ever really premiere. It does just happen.
I don't know if they distributed LSD tabs like at the door as you came in. That would have been good.
It would have been very good. I'd have probably enjoyed the film more.
Charles Manson was in Hollywood around that time. Do you reckon he would have seen this? Do you reckon this was the inspiration for Helter Skelter instead of the White Album?
Yeah.
Peter Sellers, man, he's after me.
We got to take out Peter Sellers, Orson Welles, Woody Allen. We got to get this list built. Okay, guys, you start with A. I'll work through the rest.
That Orson Welles, he has dark magic. He made a table move, man.
I'm going after the seal, man.
That monkey's code. It's code for the guys above. I bet that water was freezing.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I always think that when I see baths in films. I bet it's absolutely freezing.
It's just icy.
I mean, at the same time as they were shooting this, down the road they would have been shooting like the bit with the seal. Woody Allen might have been down the road doing his bit.
This is the thing as well that concerns me about this film. There is way too many border incest, border underage sex jokes in this film for my liking. I mean, you've just had that bit there where there's a little bit of chemistry going back and forth, and she goes, "Oh yeah, I'm 17 years old."
Well,
I'm like, what?
I mean, we're not even up to the bit yet where he has a very sensual belly dance from his daughter.
Yeah, and then his daughter says, does a Trumpism and basically says, if you weren't my dad, I'd probably find you quite attractive.
Immature. I thought you said did a Trump.
Out of his bum.
That'd be very awkward to happen in that moment. It very much killed the vibe. That's how my bath looked at home. I have a Scottish filly bird who just emerges from the water.
Ah, French people, brilliant.
Yeah, they get it too. I'm just kind of a bit lost for words now. Yay, bagpipes, the most lovely sounding instrument in the world. Not at all discordant and grating and horrible. And unlistenable.
Now, Ben, is this the bit where the Scotch mist descends?
Did I tell you when I last went home to Bury a few months ago, and there was a bloke. They normally have like people busking in like in the street, in the sort of centre bit of it. They'll have like a guy with a guitar, or a bloke singing along to back tapes or doing whatever. And last time I went, there was a bloke playing bagpipes.
Oh.
He didn't have like Scottish gear on or anything. He didn't have like kilt or tartan or the rest of it. It was just a man. Like, he was just dressed like he'd just come out of the pub. He'd literally just come out of the pub, and he just thought, you know what I'm going to do? Here's what I'm going to do today, right? I'm going to get me pipes, and I'm going to make lots of babies cry. Because that's mainly what was happening.
Pretty much. I mean, when was the last time you went back there? Was it during the dark times, or was it pre-dark times?
September. Yes, September.
So a man was out in the streets playing a dirty woodwind instrument in the middle of one of possibly the not dirtiest cities in the world, but there is certainly a level of dirt there.
It's not the nicest.
No.
But and I'm not sure what's happening here either. Like,
the French people put poison in all the buttons and put it in all the wine.
So why is it not working on David Niven?
So Ben,
I didn't think about it that way. Fair point.
Yeah. So Ben, I'm drinking a delicious, refreshing Sprite, the taste of a new generation, and I'm eating the most British of foods tonight as my snack. Quality Street's own Matchmakers in a cool mint variety.
See, why aren't you eating shortcake to tie in with the theme of this little bit we're watching here?
Well, the thing was, it was a toss-up because I've been watching.
This film is a toss-up. I definitely agree.
To the audience at home, I've been catching up with Tim Heidecker's On Cinema, and I'm up to season 8 now. I'm nearly on to season 9. In fact, I've just started season 9, episode 1 recently, and I've been craving popcorn. I just think the whole series, if nothing else, has just made me really desperately want a big bag of popcorn.
Why don't you go get some from your local Tesco? Only $3.99. Every little helps.
I have got some, but I had my tea immediately before we did this commentary, and the only thing that I had available that wasn't heavy on the stomach was these matchmakers. So
fair enough.
But the next one we do, I will have popcorn. I guarantee it.
That is an extremely red room.
That is a very red room.
I love the colours in this film, but I think it was just made at that perfect time where it just can't help but look fantastic. It was made it was made in the summer of love, man.
Absolutely, and one of the things about the Blu-ray technology is you really get those colours popping.
Yeah.
It really brings out the best. And before we came on this call, Ben, you told me that you were partaking in something that you've been trying to give up for a while, but it's one of those nights. So
what, heroin?
Yes, you were on China White, weren't you?
I refuse to watch this film unless I'm under the influence of a powerful narcotic. So I'm just trying to go along with the vibe the film is communicating,
which is abstract confusion and desperate horniness.
This film is like a headache.
It is.
I checked the runtime before we watched this. I was checking the runtime, and I've got to be honest, my heart did sink a bit. It's over 2 hours.
Same. I sat here and I looked at the runtime and I was like, oh, it's going to be a 90-minute film, and I had to double take, and I was like, oh.
There's a point where it just keeps going. I know that doesn't make any sense, but any people who've seen the film will know what I mean.
Well, hopefully our commentary will perk things up for the viewers at home, who will know that we've suffered for our... I mean, I'll say this, right? When it actually gets going, as in it goes completely off the wall, insane, mental, crazy nuts.
Yeah.
I actually quite enjoy it. It's mental, but it's fun. It's this stuff that I find drags a little bit. It's really well shot, but it goes on, and I just want to see a seal blow up a casino, you know?
Well, yeah, like I say, the David Niven stuff was like some of the last things they did, and it's sort of, maybe it's like they just wanted to pad the film out. Like,
I can believe it.
Just shoot something, anything.
One of the biggest jokes of this film is that it had to be Bond film run length.
One of the biggest jokes of this film is it's longer than half. It has no right being longer than half an hour, surely.
It's longer than a couple of the Connery Bond films.
That's probably the amount of time they spent actually writing the thing. I think this film took as long as it did to write, as long as it does to watch.
They
wrote it in real time.
So Ben, what is happening?
There's some. Well, he just broke a floor. They're doing some comedy hijinks where the idea is they're going to lift balls, and Bond never gets the chance because he has a moustache. The thing is, it's all about context, isn't it? With these things, like the film is quite funny in places, but what is it doing in a Bond film? I mean, I know it's not a Bond film, really, but you know, it's just bizarre because a lot of this isn't counted as officially part of the quote canon. Like you won't get any films that reference this one. Not even the 2006 version, which had the audacity, Dan, to actually do an adaptation of the book for the most part.
It would have been nice if in the 2006 version they just put a little nod, maybe give him a moustache for a couple of scenes or something.
I watched the whole thing, and Orson Welles didn't turn up once, and I was very sad.
Gutted. You could have had a scene where Daniel Craig was watching Casino Royale on the TV.
That could have worked. I mean, if the film isn't part of the Bond lore, then hey, go nuts.
And it very much feels like one of those films that are shown on TV in films that aren't real films. You know what I mean? Like when somebody's watching TV in a film and it's like Bloodsuckers 8, and Bloodsuckers 8 doesn't exist, but it's just a thing that they've shot for the film to make it look like there's something on TV.
You're saying this film is so ridiculous it can't even pass as fiction?
Yes.
That's a very cool 60s thing of subtitles with capital letters and exclamation marks. to make them
Well-
to make them ultra groovy.
Well, for the benefit of this commentary, Ben, I'm actually going to be subtitling the entire episode, so
Fab.
please speak very clearly, so that I can censor them all like that.
Oh, that'd be good. That'll take you about 5 days to do, but still. See, I can do that. That's nothing.
Yeah, easy.
So Bond has seduced her by breaking some balls.
Hey, if anyone's gonna be a ball buster, my guess is it's gonna be James Bond.
She's betrayed them. She's betrayed her own kind.
Oh dear! Now she must be sacrificed to the wicked arse.
Evil Scottish girls. This continues a run of films that you've watched recently where Scotland is portrayed as an evil place.
It is, yes. There was that Garth Marenghi episode I watched recently with Scotch Mist. There was all of the Connery Bond films. That pretty much illustrates that Bond is a baddie. I think there was a bit in Spice World.
I don't think they go to Scotland in Spice World. They should have done. Whoa, they should have done though.
I could see them all in tartan.
When I saw this it was on ITV. To just add to the confusion of young Bond fans like me, they'd show it along with all the others. Yeah, so like just as it. Well, no, because ITV will, as most British people of our generation will know, a lot of people first saw Bond because ITV play them and still play them sometimes.
Oh yeah.
And they do a run of like, sometimes they do them in order, so they'd have like Doctor No 1 week, and then next week they do From Russia and so on, and they'd include this in the order, so it just made things very confusing because you'd come from not super serious but quite semi-realistic spy thrillers to a woman hanging off a drain pipe.
Well, I was going to say I actually had the opportunity to watch this in HD on ITV about 2 years ago. And I watched the first 5 minutes and thought, it's going to probably be a bit boring. I'll leave it.
Yeah, because you don't think that from the first 5 minutes. It starts quite sedate. You've got the very odd business with the lions, but then now you've got this bit where there's a supercomputer in a field. You know, it's.
I feel like this would make a really good Beck music video.
Yeah, I can picture. Devil's Haircut blaring while this goes on. Moonraker will have a grouse shooting scene later on. I can only assume it's a reference to this. It has to be. There's no other alternative.
As I got to about this point in the film, I really, really, really wished that we weren't being comprehensive, and I wanted to just go straight into Live and Let Die. Because I've seen Live and Let Die and it's really good. And I sat and watched this and I was just like, we could have been watching Live and Let Die.
No, it's not that this film is entirely unwatchable. It's just that it has a lot of. Some bits of it are watchable, some bits of it are not so watchable.
No.
But that's what you get with this film. It's the White Album of the Bond series.
Absolutely.
You know what? It's a grab bag. You take what you get.
I think that's probably one of the best summaries you could have for it. It's the White Album. They've thrown everything in the kitchen sink at this film.
Exactly.
I think you could probably cut it down to a really decent 90-minute feature. Really trippy but decent 90-minute feature.
Yeah, I can certainly see the appeal of that as a fun little experiment, like to try and cut it down to something semi-watchable. But then again, it wouldn't be what it is. You know what I mean?
Well, no.
It's like all those people who have conversations about what would you do if you cut the White Album down to a single album, which I've never thought about because then it's not the White Album, then is it?
No, it's just a Beatles album.
It's just but that's what makes it special. It's this big sprawling grab bag, and that's what makes this film special. That that's. So I've already lost the plot. We're not even half an hour in.
So Bond has gone to Scotland and handled some balls, and now he's shooting birds in the face. And he threw a button at one of the birds, and the bird flew into the machine that was firing the birds and blew the bird machine up.
It was an evil.
And now
evil robot bird.
It was an evil robot bird machine, and now he's seduced the main woman who was a baddie. Although she was already technically seduced, now she's properly seduced, but she knows that she can't be with him, so she's going to go and join a convent and become a nun. What?
He really rocks that. He really rocks that green hat.
Now, Ben, could you tell me that plot back to me, because I feel like it just went into my head and got deleted immediately.
Certainly, Dan. International Man of Mystery, James Bond, takes a tab of LSD one day and closes his eyes for a bit, and then this film kind of happens.
It does kind of feel like a fever dream that happens between You Only Live Twice and Diamonds Are Forever.
I know it's a bit cliche to call a weird film dreamlike, but this really does feel like a dream in the way that like things just happen and it cuts to other stuff without rhyme or reason. Much.
With a slightly harsher, bluesier soundtrack, this could easily be a David Lynch film.
But then you'd have to replace the fantastic Burt Bacharach score.
True.
Really
but maybe that could be better. Maybe that could be repurposed to a better suited movie like Head.
It was. I mean, the soundtrack of this film is stellar. No one can take that away.
It's probably
from
the best part of the film.
And it got a genuinely big hit single from it. The Dusty Springfield, "Look of Love."
Did it actually have a proper OST release?
Oh God, yeah.
Let's have a look. I want to see on Discogs how much it costs, because I might actually pick it up if it's cheap enough.
It sold quite well, so I reckon it might not be that expensive, I'd imagine.
Let's have a look. Casino Royale original motion picture soundtrack. Oh, it's the Daniel Craig version.
No. Not the bad version.
£1.51 you can get it for
the soundtrack for this.
Yes.
Sweet, that's not a bad deal.
That's not a bad deal at all. I'm going to see what the quality is for it, and it's the vinyl version. So
for a Herb Albert theme and Burt Bacharach on jamming away, it's not bad. And we're in Thomas the Tank Engine.
Brilliant. Oh, we're in a Jerry Anderson cartoon. Excellent.
That's the thing I was looking for. Yeah.
It's all gone a bit. Drink a pint of milk a day.
It's the milk that Alex drinks in A Clockwork Orange. That's why it's so crazy. I love that. They've got like a little Scalextric set that somehow determines the location of their victim.
Somehow the blue screen effects in this film are only slightly better than what John Pertwee would be doing 5 years from now.
I think they probably had zero money. I think they had minus money by that point, so I think you can forgive them. I love that. I wish the modern Bonds had like a little Scalextric-y bit. So cool. See, when I watched this and I was about 10, I didn't really think of it. I didn't differentiate it from the others, really. It seemed perfectly fine.
But Ben, why would you? This film makes perfect sense in the universe of Goldfinger.
I didn't question things. I was a very foolish child.
Evil milkmen and volcano layers, yeah, they work in the same way. I don't see why they wouldn't.
Well, we're going to get a Bond film later on with a baddie who disguises as a milkman, so it's not that unusual. There's stuff in this film that the, quote, proper series will touch, so...
With MGM's acquisition of this film, wouldn't that technically mean that it's been bought into canon regardless, because it's now all held under the same studio?
I would not say that, because otherwise they probably would have included it in the nice shiny Bond Blu-ray set that I have, which they very pointedly do not.
I've just remembered one of the benefits of that Bond set that you have is they've got a gap for where Skyfall can fit in once it was released. They actually left a blank space so you could put it in. Can you imagine if they'd have left 2 blank spaces for when Casino Royale comes out?
Yeah. What was I going to say just then? Yeah, I mean, like on the extras of the 2006 one, I think they talk about this film for like 5 seconds, in just a sort of like, do we have to sort of way.
So, you see, when we came to remake Casino Royale, we looked at the old one and threw it in the bin.
That's literally how it goes. Like
Not mentioned again.
Like Casino Royale 2006 has a really long, extensive documentary, and it talks a lot about the book and Ian Fleming, and it's like, so then Ian Fleming wrote this book, and then there was a film of it in the 60s, and then we hired Daniel Craig.
Well, hello, Miss Moneypenny.
Yes, Moneypenny, you're looking a lot fitter than usual.
Hashtag lads as lads. Hashtag we're not sexist pig dogs.
Yeah.
Hashtag not all men. So
I mean, considering David Niven full on snogged her when he walked in the room, I mean, it was a different time then.
It was a type of time where a 50-year-old man could snog an 18-year-old woman with no negative consequences without her consent.
See also Woody Allen. Now,
oh, it's Paul McCartney.
all right, James. So we're just thinking, right, me and John, right. I got this song right. Okay.
Mr. Niven, sir, can I be in your film?
Can I be in your
No, go away.
Can you be in your film, right? Okay, yeah, sure. And
all right, well, we'll just hang out in the back, simply having. And they went on to make Help.
Well, Help was before this.
It was, wasn't it? They'd be up to Pepper this year.
Yeah. What? I could. You know, this is how much of a fucking disgusting person I am. What date did this come out? I'm not cheating whatsoever. I'm remembering this completely off my own back. Not cheating at all. Let me just check. Came out in April '67. So they were still recording Pepper. Pepper came out 3 months later. I wonder if they saw this.
Paul, we've had a hard day in the studio. Do you want to go down to the Odeon and watch Casino Royale?
Oh, that'd be great, right? Okay, yeah, sure. I love Sean Connery. He's all right. Yeah, fab. Yeah.
I've heard that.
That's how he talks.
I've heard that comedian Woody Allen's in it. He's fair gear.
This was before Paul McCartney adopted an American accent, which is how he talks now.
Yes. Oh, it's a shame.
So yeah,
this scene, just this one scene in this film, made me go immediately to Amazon.es and buy a copy of Take the Money and Run on import.
Amazon.Estonia?
Spain.
Oh.
Espanol.
Ah.
I loved the gag of how he climbs over the wall with a "see you later, suckers," and he drops down immediately in front of another firing squad on the other side.
As you can imagine, considering this film is very much in the tone of the more subtle, nuanced Woody Allen comedies like Annie Hall and Manhattan, and very much in tone with that, obviously.
Oh,
especially
yeah,
the bit where the UFO lands.
Oh, that's my favourite bit. In fact, that's not that out of place for some of the more screwball Woody Allen films, like Paris and Blue. So
you know more about it, Woody Allen, than me. Didn't he sort of start off making sort of slightly crazier, zanier stuff?
Oh God, yeah. Basically, his entire early career, right up until about the mid 1970s, is just all comedy. It's like proper screwball, airplane style, laugh style, hit comedies. Take the Money and Run is one of my favourite comedy films of all time, just for how Mel Brooks-esque it is.
Now, imagine working at MI6 at this time. What a job this must have been.
Oh, sign me up.
Now, lads,
for the kissing role, that is, not the the kissing role, not the person who is doing the kissing, you know.
All right, lads, activate the red gel. That means sex.
Well, hey. But yes, for a short.
That's how I got my job, by the way.
Really? You came into my bedroom and you were like, "Dan, let's do these commentary recordings." I was like, "Well, I need a guest host," and then you just shoved your tongue down my throat.
There was a line of me and 7 other blokes in suits.
There was, yes. Raymond nearly got it, but you just got your tongue that little bit further.
Raymond didn't have enough passion in his embrace.
But damn it, he tried. That's why we have him on occasionally.
He did slip some tongue though, which gave him like 10 points.
Hey, he left me $10, and if that was in pounds, he would have got the job. So shorthand for good Woody Allen films, I highly recommend Take the Money and Run. Love and Death is another very good one. Sleeper's good. Zelig is very good. That Zelig is about a man played by Woody Allen who can... he's a social chameleon, and within 30 minutes he can basically become anybody. It's a bit like Master of Disguise, but actually good.
A very Woody Allen-esque thing you've described there, so I can see that. Yeah.
My favourite scene is there's a bit where he's put to death and he's in his cell and he's waiting the death sentence, and he gets visited by a rabbi, and within 30 minutes he's a Hasidic Jew rabbi who knows all the scriptures off the top of his head, and they let him go.
So this is the lady room. Every intelligence service in the world has one.
Yes, this is where all the abuse happens.
I just like the idea of alright, health and safety down the road, you got a Q branch, and then there's the lady room. What happens in there?
But it has this music playing all the time.
On a loop. They're all just stood there all day motionless.
Until a man walks in.
It's like Madame Tussauds.
Also, as well, just as an aside, one of my favourite Woody Allen films is actually a more serious one called Broadway Danny Rose, which has comedy elements, but it's actually got a really, really nice end. If you can check any of those out, please do, because I can't review them on my channel for obvious reasons.
I've just realised that I said the Madame Tussauds thing as a joke, but the women are actually all stood there completely motionless.
Oh, look, it's Tim Curry.
I am serious.
No, Ben, you can't see
don't
this.
Don't call me Shirley.
You can't see this, Ben, but since lockdown, my hair actually looks like that.
And your face and figure.
And my breasts.
And the breast. Yeah, I was going to say about the breasts.
I'm not complaining.
She has a fabulous hair, like proper 66, 67 sort of beehive thing going on.
Oh, she could go to a hair hop anytime.
A what?
A hair hop.
A hair hop?
A hair hop.
What's a hair hop?
A hair hop was a event and a happening in the US and occasionally the UK where people with big hair would get together and dance.
Well, I've learned so much today. You taught me about Woody Allen and you've taught me about hair hops. And there is Honey Rider.
Oh, very nice.
Wearing a little bit more than she wore in Doctor No, unfortunately. But...
Looking very fetching as a dancer on the Las Vegas Strip, so...
She's got a bit of a Cher thing going on. And she gets to have her own voice in this one, unlike in Doctor No.
Which is very nice. It's a shame she can't sing The Mango Tree.
No. I just love the idea of someone dressed like that, wandering around while everyone's got suits on. It's just so funny.
Standard CIA work outfit, isn't it?
She makes reference to a crocodile submarine, which the proper series will later go on to actually do. More evidence that
I think I remember that.
More evidence that this film is more influential than it realises.
And that's the worrying part.
Exactly. And access to the lady room.
Do 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 do.
All those tapes are playing the Burt Bacharach score.
Yes. They're all primed and ready for whenever anything comedic, sexy, or funny happens.
Which is...
Oh, there goes one now. That's going up to Woody Allen's suite.
Which is all things in this film. That's why it's great.
Oh, it's Woody Allen again.
Oh, and there's Mr. Sellers. Now, the story of Peter Sellers in this film is that Peter Sellers is a very talented man. No one's disputing that. Bit of an arsehole. By all accounts.
From what I've heard.
Yeah. He basically signed on for this thinking that they were making a serious film. He didn't want to make a comedy. He had ideas quite above his station, Dan. No, so it's like they cast him and he thought that he was going to be like, oh, I'm going to be James Bond. Brilliant. And then he found out when he came on the set that No.
Ah, Mr. Sellers, welcome to the production of Casino Royale. Move the seal back, please.
Can we have,
now,
can
if
we
you
have
could
more
just
light on the
pop.
monkey? Great.
If you could just get into that tuxedo over there. Orson Welles is waiting just across the corner. Princess Anne's turning up shortly. And cowboys, can you just go to the back of the stairs? And can you please move the custard pies off the side of the set? Thank you.
Oh God, we'll get to him and Orson Welles. That's its own horror story. But yeah, Sellers, by all accounts, went out of his way to make life extremely difficult for everyone around him. He ordered a set be torn down one day because he had a bad dream about it. He tried to have actors fired. The reason why he disappears at the end, or the reason why he gets killed at the end, rather, spoilers, is because he literally walked off the set and didn't come back.
Is it bad that I didn't know he died and I've watched this film?
He gets shot.
Everything goes so mental that I didn't notice that.
You'd be forgiven for not realising that, Dan, because it happens, like you say, it happens so fast and in such a bizarre fashion that
The last time I remember seeing him, from my memory of watching the film last night, is he was in that weird psychedelic dreamscape hellscape room where he's running around being chased by the Phantom Pipers.
that's how most people who watch this film end up in a psychedelic hellscape. This is saying that though. This is a very nice bit.
This is very beautiful.
This film, probably the thing that it's most known for now, because this is quite a popular song. Oh, it was a popular song at the time. Dusty Springfield.
Great singer, fantastic.
Oh yeah, brilliant. And it was written by like Hal David, and people who would actually go on to write actual Bond themes or help with Bond themes. So it's definitely got that vibe to it. And that's just a daft film or not. That's just a really lovely bit with all the fish in slow motion. It's great.
What's that weird art in the background?
It was
with all the moving parts.
It was the 60s, Dan.
Okay.
It's like it's not really art. He's just took some acid, and that's what happens. The walls just sort of move around, do their own thing.
I feel if I licked my screen now, I would start tripping.
You'd probably trip for a little bit just through sheer like death hallucination from the electric shock you get.
Contact high, mate.
Not even a contact. I think you get contact high just through sheer exposure to the celluloid reel of this film.
I feel drunk, and I've not had anything. I'm not going to be driving after this film.
It was actually, this film took a big blow to his career, not just because of the film, but just because of like all the stories that circulated of just how much of a arsehole he was on set.
Was this before or after Strangelove?
This was after Strangelove. So he was already a fairly big star, or already felt well known anyway. But then after this, he didn't work properly for like 5 years, and it wasn't until he did the Pink Panther films that he sort of entered back into the public eye again. Yeah. Did
he come back knocked down a peg or two, or was he just like, see, I told you I was great?
Well, by all accounts, I think he always had a bit of a chip on his shoulder, shall we say. And also not a very nice man to his kids, allegedly, which is not nice. But, oh well, that's by the by. But the fact is that he walked off the set for like 3 weeks, and they killed him off because they hated him so much. That's why Evelyn Tremble dies, because they were sick of him.
I just love the fact that the script got to the point where where they could just literally go, oh, what about this main character? Ah, he's an arsehole, kill him. But the script's been written, we've got the money, kill him. Okay, fine. As if the script's going to make any more sense, you know.
Without saying anything, that person who makes that complaint, they have the script took off them and just ripped up in front of them.
That must have been a very satisfying thing if it could happen.
Or just like,
did you ever deal with the...
put in a shredding machine which just happens to be on the set nearby.
I mean, both you and I have been on film sets in the past, and
I've also been on this
if
one.
you've got a Well, yes, obviously. And if you've been dealing with a difficult actor or actress on a set, nothing more satisfying would be to just take that script, hold it up in front of them, and feed it into a shredder, and then tell them to leave.
But I mean, the idea that this film had a
Oh,
script.
great, train spotting.
The idea that this film had a script is quite laughable.
It was put together on the David Bowie principle of rippy bits.
This is a very surreal thing where we cut to him, he's in normal motion, and every time we cut back to her, she's in slow motion.
Again, this was one of those points where I messaged you and was just like, Ben, why? What? Why?
Imagine Peter Sellers coming on set. Oh, I'm ready for my serious Bond film. Okay, we're fitting you for your Nazi uniform in half an hour.
Well, you're the guy who does the impressions. You can do anybody. Like Hitler, say, for example. Speaking of which...
But I get to shag Ursula Andress, right? Yeah, no,
try the suit on. It might actually fit. It's actually gap.
This is another bit that Austin Powers ripped off.
Yes, I remember this bit. Oh, I fell over. Oh, I fell over again.
Was there a shot that was upside down?
Yes.
Why?
So, Ben, I've finished my can of Sprite. I'm onto water now. Good old, cold, refreshing water.
I'm trying to get some normalcy in my life.
Oh, it's Alan Bennett. Of course, playing James Bond was a terrible shame.
He's probably...
They didn't have any...
Around this time he's thinking, you know what? Goon Show wasn't that bad a deal.
When I appeared on set, they only had 2 types of biscuit. I was livid. I wanted a bourbon, but they only had a custard cream.
Can we do one commentary without mentioning biscuits?
No.
Okay.
We're British. It's what we do.
Okay. And look, Dan, it's Bond Hitler.
And I'll invade Czechoslovakia if you... Oh.
Because Hitler. Yes. We're ready for your serious Bond film you're making, Peter Sellers. Oh look, your Napoleon uniform's ready.
Ben, why is this in the film?
Well, every 60s film of this era has to have at least one scene where someone is, preferably a dolly bird, is taking pictures of the main character while psychoanalyzing them. It has to be done. It's part of the rules.
Mr. Sellers, this way for your short man with a walking stick costume for your serious Bond role.
It's quite inspired, really. What this scene of exposition needs? A load of bollocks.
Yeah, but where do you put it in? Because it's already full of it. So, you can't add to something that is already 100% bollocks. It's got to have wiggle room.
There's always room for more.
And that director went on to become Stanley Kubrick. Listen, you're telling me that if I play cards and win a lot of money, I can split the money with you and also have sex with you. Yes.
I made the mistake of trying to catch up with the plot then. Well, that was foolish on my part.
Yeah, don't do that, mate. You'll hurt your head. It hurt my head. That's why I've swapped from drinking water to terps.
That's why I've put whiskey in the water.
Do I get to keep my beard? I'm in.
Do I get to keep that pretend money?
I'm in.
Should we play a game of Monopoly?
I'm in.
Do not pass go.
Do not collect 200. I'm in.
And here's our Q scene of this one.
Ah,
well,
brilliant.
Q not appearing for legal reasons, obviously.
Disappointing. Needs more people running around in the background on fire.
Yeah, I don't think they call him Q or even Major Boothroyd. I think I know why, because Q doesn't appear in the original book.
Hmm.
So they probably didn't have the rights to him the same way they had the rights to Bond and M and all the rest of them. Hello. Bex is joining us now.
Ah, brilliant.
She's not watching this because I'm a Celebs on.
I tell her she's actually winning tonight.
She's made the right choice today.
Yes.
Oh, hello. Thank you.
You're very welcome.
Yes, thank you, Dan, for being so special.
I'm only here because of you, Ben. That's a funny scene. That's really stupid, but it's a funny bit.
That could sum up the whole film, couldn't it?
Yeah. So stupid.
I've been given. I'm being fed chocolate as we speak. So.
What kind of chocolate, Ben? The audience need to know.
White chocolate.
Nice. What kind, though, Ben?
It's from Aldi.
Oh, very nice.
Oh, it's really good. Well, you'll have to put up with the sound of me chewing for the next.
Is it Moshe Roth?
Is it what?
Moshe Roth.
I don't speak French.
Ah. Well, I got Matchmakers, and that's not French.
What?
Chocodoobie?
Choco. It's just called chocolate, Dan, apparently.
Oh, brilliant.
Shocker. Like Spider-Man.
Ah, it'll never catch on. It'll go the way of Marmite and Guinness.
This chocolate I'm eating is far nicer than the scene I'm watching.
Yeah, this is another one where I just kind of sat here and went, why? Why is this? Why is it so long?
Well,
why is it?
Which, you know what, they wanted to have a... This is the one scene in a normal Bond film where you're allowed to go a bit daft, the Q scene.
Yeah, but the problem is they've blown the wad already because they've already been really daft up to now. So the daft bit isn't daft anymore. You've either got to up your game and make the daft bit even dafter, aka everyone is in the background on fire, or, you know, it's just part of the furniture. I feel like I'm kind of...
It's like Be Here Now by Oasis.
Yeah,
Like, we'll make it louder, but you're already loud. Make it louder, mate.
But you're already loud. Louder, mate.
That's
louder.
That's what Noel Gallagher said while he was eating chocolate.
And then he went, right, I'm off.
And isn't this under like a Woolworths or a Harrods? They've implied.
Yeah, I think so.
That's not a bad idea. That's quite a Bondy idea.
They got the Apple Watch about 50 years early.
Ah. Casino Royale Pit at Future Time Travellers.
Oh, cracking. You can get Totty on here.
Oh, look, it's showing the DVD of Casino Royale.
Hang on a minute. This is on my left wrist. I'm going to have to swap wrists to make any use of this.
The reason I'm going quiet is I'm trying to figure out what's happening exactly.
Ben, don't. It's just... I watched this literally less than 24 hours ago, and I still do not understand. I was really hoping that a second watch might clear things up. It hasn't. It's made it more confusing.
This is like my 7th watch, and I'm still none the wiser.
I don't... And I wouldn't mind, right, but we've sat through things like Bloody New Year, and we've sat through Head and Spice World, and we've sat through experimental art films when we were in university together, and they made more sense than this. This makes no sense, and it's the thing that I love the most about it, and the thing that infuriates me the most about it, because I want to understand it, because I feel like there's something good here, but at the same time, there's just the balls of this film to waste at least an hour and a half of my time is just...
You could argue it wastes 2 hours of your time.
Well, you know what I feel like? I feel like that bit in the Monty Python sketch where they return the dirty fork.
Oh, yeah.
Or is it the dirty knife? No, it's the dirty fork. The punchline is the dirty knife.
It's dirty fork, yeah.
Yeah, where he comes out and he's like, I'm so sorry for this film. It is a travesty. And I want to be angry at this film. I want to unload both barrels, but I don't know why. Because there's nothing that makes sense for me to grab onto to go, this is the thing that is bad about this film, or this is the thing I love about it. Things just happen.
So what you're saying, that the reason you don't like the film is because it's too illogical to dislike.
There's no foothold. There's nothing. Normally, with any normal film or any film full stop, there's at least a point in the film.
Look,
what
Dan,
is this?
We're in the jungle now, Dan.
Hey, look, it's video game donkey.
Bond's riding a donkey with an umbrella.
With any other film,
Like
any film that I've seen, even Head, with any other film that I've seen, there has been a foothold. There has been a point in the film.
He's come back to invade India. Take it back from the Raj.
There's been a point in the film where you can get a grip of it and kind of roll, and even if you don't get the rest of the outside of that film, that bit that you grab onto it like you're in a storm. There's nothing like that in this film. It just happens. And
this is a nice set, though.
Oh yeah.
This is this cost a few bob, I reckon.
Oh no, they just recycled the old Doctor No sets. Kept them in storage.
Apparently Cubby Broccoli and Sean Connery in that, when they saw this, just pissed themselves.
Oh, I couldn't believe it.
Because they were worried for ages because they knew that Feldman was bringing out his Casino Royale, and they were worried about it sort of competing or taking any attention away from their release. And then when they saw this, they just laughed in the way of like, we were worried. we were genuinely worried that this was going to steal our thunder. Although to be fair, this film it was a financially it was a success, but critically it was panned pretty heavily, and of course I don't think there's anyone who actually worked on the film who has a nice thing to say about it.
So Ben, what did you like about Casino Royale?
I like this bit.
I do.
That's all I'll say. This is another connection with Head. That's a belly dancing bit in that. I know this isn't technically belly dancing.
Well, if we're looking at it objectively, I think that the set designs are more good than bad. Consistently more good than bad. Superb to an extent. I mean, that set looks gorgeous, like you say. There's some really nice choreography, as again illustrated here.
That's a weird thing to pay to a Bond film. Nice choreography.
Yes. Well, I mean, I suppose you could argue that fight scenes are a choreography of a type, but
okay. Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. This stuff is well shot, but like you say, it feels like it belongs in another better film.
Yes, absolutely. Soundtrack is good and solid. Direction is an absolute shit show.
Well, all five directions going on.
Yeah, yeah. Performances mixed bag.
Yeah,
I think it. Yeah.
Like if you took this scene and just like gave it to someone independently, like just said, "Oh, this is from a film about a man who goes to find a woman in a temple in Burma." You know what I mean? It was like if you didn't tell them it was part of a quote Bond film.
I don't think you'd raise any suspicion.
It's a bit odd though that he just watched his daughter do a very sensual erotic dance.
Yeah, I'm more surprised actually thinking about it that Christopher Lee or Peter Cushing don't turn up in this film. Because you'd have thought they would have been, Christopher Lee is clearly Bond material.
Well,
as illustrated by the fact he's in.
We're going to get Christopher Lee.
We're
going to get Christopher Lee. He's coming.
I could see him playing Bond though.
I think he got approached as well. And not for this film, but like when they were casting Doctor No.
Oh, I was sitting there for a second thinking, like, I've got Dracula 1970 AD, or I can do Casino Royale. Well, I hate Dracula.
Thing is,
Casino Royale.
Christopher Lee did loads of shite for the money. He probably would have done it.
In fact, funnily enough, I'm actually sat here at the minute looking at a flyer from Indicator Films that I had come through the other day for their Fu Manchu collection, which is predominantly Christopher Lee as a racist stereotype. So So,
Speaking of racist stereotypes.
oh yeah. Bloody hell.
I suppose it's not that bad really compared to other stuff from the era.
It could have been much worse.
There's at least no one's like blacking and yellowing up, so it's not totally. Does he see more incest? Did Woody Allen must have ghostwritten this bit?
Mr. Allen, if you could please direct all litigation to my friend Ben, who lives at.
What's the to sue? It was alleged he did stuff.
Well, this
wasn't proven, but it was alleged by Mia Farrow.
And to be Trumpian once again, there is points on both sides that would argue an equal case on both sides that we unfortunately do not have time or legal resource to deal with here.
That's not a bad gag when she says to the big bloke, "Yeah, Abdul, do you speak English?" No. But
I thought that was quite good.
It was done a bit better in All Places Help, the Beatles film, where they go to an Indian restaurant and they ask if any Indians work there. And it's like, he says something like, "Oh, Raj, are there any Indians here?" "No, Ducky, not seen any knocking about, no." But this film is slightly less racist than Help, in that there doesn't appear to be any, like I say, blacking or yellowing up going on.
Yeah, that's at least a small mercy. A small mercy.
I don't like it, Dan. It's political correctness gone mad.
I want her hat.
They should all be black.
Oh, look, it's Crobbins.
They should all be yellowing up, every one of them. Make Niven great again.
Hey, excuse me, you look like that famous singer type. Can you sing Hole in the Ground for me?
Where are we now? Oh, we're in Berlin.
We're in a black and white film that's been... we're in the Sin City universe.
We can be heroes just for one day. And speaking of, it's not a bad, it's obviously a big old set, but it's pretty good. I think a lot of these were cribbed from other films that were being shot on the Columbia lot.
It just the cinematography looks really weird for 1968. It looks like the sort of Sin City effect where it looks black and white but with just little bits of colour.
You're saying this film is ahead of its time?
In the sort of stylistic approach on this particular scene, yes.
I'd say that's quite ironic. This film is not ahead of its time or behind its time. It is very specifically of its time. It's very specific to 1 year, the year it was made. Have you seen a film that is more 1967 than this? It's painfully, violently 1967.
Aggressively so.
It's aggressively of the year it was made, and I think we've changed directors for the 7th time again because this is...
We're now in the cabinet of Dr. Calgary.
This is Tim Burton directed this bit. Well, what I wanted to do with James Bond is... And I realised how much my Tim Burton voice sounds a lot like Donald Trump. I just want to make Bond great again. I loved that little scene he did. It was fantastic. Yeah, they've got bloody paintings of me up on the wall. What's fucking going on here, Mako? All right, Ricky?
Oh, oh God. It's Margaret Hamilton. Quick, hide all the broomsticks.
Oh, look, kids, it's Ronnie Corbett.
Yes, again, why?
For money?
And why is he playing a German?
Who would you have cast, Dan, in that role?
Obviously Ronnie Barker. The better Ronnie.
That's controversial.
Oh, how is it? Name me a better Ronnie. And don't say Ronnie Craig.
Ronnie Cox, the guy who played the baddie in RoboCop.
Clarence.
Or Ronnie Biggs. A lot of criminals called Ronnie. Yeah. That's no coincidence.
So, fun fact for the day today, ladies and gentlemen. You're laughing
and by a lot,
and learning.
And by a lot, I mean 2 that I can think of. This bit used to... even as a kid, I found this section very odd. And I didn't find the ending odd. I found all this stuff odd. Probably because I didn't have a frame of reference for what it's trying to do. It's obviously going for a Caligari, FW...
German expressionist movement
FW
style.
Murnau thing. Because that's what you do in your Bond film.
Obviously.
You just name-check Bela Lugosi.
Oh, I love this.
That is. One day I'm going to live in a house where I just open a door and this is happening.
Right, the experimental filmmaker in me loves all of this footage, all of these weird sequences and scenes of just happenings.
I mean, this is basically my living room. That's how I.
Well, yeah.
That's how I live with a Fraulein.
Opening doors to rooms of people expressionist fighting and swinging their arms around in various coded ways.
When I become a billionaire and I have the money to build myself a German expression-y house, that's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to pay a load of dolly birds to do sped up Benny Hill fights and press buttons in a big room.
Hey, you should get on Cameo and get Herb Alpert to come and play in your house live 24/7.
It looks funny with the foreboding dark set. You've got the Burt Bacharach Herb Alpert thing going on.
I just my head hurts. We're an hour and 14 minutes into this film, and we've got another hour and 9 minutes left.
It actually feels like a Monkeys episode.
It does. It's got weird.
I don't mean a specific one. I mean it's just the whole film has that tone to it.
It's got that weird sort of psychedelic, gothic quality to it. You know what I mean? Where it's like everything's run down but colourful.
Yeah. The Monkeys
was quite prominent with stuff like that.
The Monkeys did like 5 episodes where they went to a haunted house. That's what this reminds me of. Yeah, who fucking works here then? Alright, apples and pears, governor up the chairs, okay?
Cool, blimey, come over here and tell me all your secrets.
What are you saying, Ronnie Corbett? And then she just turns into Phil Mitchell.
Yeah. Then she quickly flicks to Peggy Mitchell when it's all done. Get out of my pub!
Oh yeah, I'd like to see you try.
You causing trouble in my gaff?
You and his army.
Not for long, sunshine. I'm taking a very brief moment to moisturise. Remember to moisturise, ladies and gents. It's winter now. It's nice and cold, and you don't want to get your hands chapped.
When he says moisturise, he means wanking.
Oh, yeah.
Because he's obviously like wanking in this scene over Ronnie Corbett. Yeah, you beat me to it.
He just builds up such a frustration in me that I can only take out in that way.
I think Dan can relate to Ronnie Corbett in this scene. This is the story of his life.
I can. If you remember, Ben, this was very much how the interview process went for when we hired you for our commentary series.
Chasing scantily clad women going, I say, you must come here, you will be mine.
Please keep my secrets. Do not tell Peter Sellers.
Get out my pub.
Get out, you toilet.
Get out my room.
Meanwhile, in Listomania,
Ken Russell wishes he could make a film this crazy.
Can you imagine if Ken Russell directed this?
It'd be great. I imagine that.
Oh, it'd been 18 straight away, but
I mean, it probably wouldn't have been much better. But it would have been maybe if you just had any one director, you know what I mean? Like instead of 5, just one would suffice.
You'd have had that vision.
It might not have been a good vision, but it would have been a vision. You know?
And I guarantee you as well that had Ken Russell directed this, you would have had Oliver Reed as James Bond, which is always a nice thing.
Another bloke audition for James Bond. Basically, if you were male and between the ages of about 30 and 45, you auditioned for Bond at some point or another.
Hey, look, Ben, it's you. Where's your cameo?
In my Indian dress, yeah.
That's
what I'm wearing right now, actually.
Does it still hold up?
It's yeah. When I did that dance for David Niven, he enjoyed it a lot.
Yeah, it's good to hear.
And I was like, all right, you're getting a stiffy there, are you? Bloody hell, mate.
Oh, blimey, you're me dead.
This is a bit fucking weird, isn't it, mate? Oh. I'd ran out of EastEnders catchphrases, so just making noises would suffice.
Oh no, you've got lock cockney. It's like lockjaw, but you get stuck doing a cockney noise.
Yo, mate.
Alright. He's going to be like that for 12 hours before he very quickly moves into a Cornish grunt and then it
just go, Ricky, over and over, like a stuck tape. It's the baddies meeting. It's quite cool actually.
Beautiful.
They have the west and the east like lit differently.
Yeah, this has got a cameo from Burt Kwok as well, which is quite nice.
I mean, sure. Why not? Right.
Yeah,
Burt Kwok was in Goldfinger, wasn't he?
I believe so. Yeah,
Yeah. So there you go. This film's canon.
sorted. In, mate. I mean, in fairness, given what happened.
They have the Chinese in Bathed in Red Light, which I mean... Okay, sure.
Well, I mean, I was going to say, in fairness, given what goes on in the Roger Moore era, this film could probably be canon.
I mean, it's probably good considering that most of the films at this time would have been horribly racist and bathed them in yellow light.
Yeah.
There's still some like dodgy jokes, like when later on when they're auctioning stuff, it's like £1,000 of Chinese rice. Bit weird.
Ben, are we the baddies?
Is that Bernard Cribbins?
It is.
God, everyone's.
I've said it a few times. He plays the taxi driver. When this finishes filming, he runs off with Peter Cushing to fight the Daleks.
It's a bad thing when the Peter Cushing Doctor Who film was probably better made than this.
There's no doubt about it, Ben. They were better made than this.
Do you get it, Dan? The Russian offered loads of vodka because he's Russian, and they're all alcoholics, Dan. All of them.
Well, Ben, I was going to give this film 1 bag of popcorn, but after that rib tickler, I'm going to give it another 4 bags and a bottle of Russian Standard.
They're all pissed all the time because they're the baddies. They're going to nuke us all.
See, they missed a trick there with that joke. They had the East and the West sort of tumble over each other and knock the phones onto the floor for their emergency contacts, and they sort of called the emergency contacts under the table. I think it would have been much funnier if they'd have picked up each other's phone by accident and then looked at the speakers and really confused and then passed them over to each other.
I've just thought of another film this reminds me of.
Go on.
The fucking terrible Whoops Apocalypse film.
Oh, yes, with racist Kramer.
God. He wasn't racist then.
He was, though. If you remember, he blacks up in that film.
Oh yeah, is that the YouTube clip that everyone pulls up after the Laugh Factory footage?
Yeah, I believe so. Meanwhile,
this was not edited. This was not edited at all. Shot in real time. Fuck off!
What is happening?
Get out of my pub.
Ben, what is happening?
This scene was directed by Benny Hill. It's a bloke chasing a dolly bird. The music's great. It's like circus.
The music is great, Ben, but they even do a bit of the Benny Hill theme there.
She's spraying white stuff all over them.
All over them.
Nice,
Mucky pup.
Nice white stuff.
This is the music.
I lost my train of thought there while we were watching Casino Royale.
I think so. Isn't this the music that plays when Stewie has a sexy party?
Similar.
I think it is actually.
This is the music I play whenever I walk in my flat.
This is the music I play whenever I walk out of mine.
So I like how Bernard Cribbins has a Union Jack on his back, so you know he's the English one.
He's British, mate. Called Blimey Gavnor. Goodbye.
It's quite funny. But yeah, it's like Whoops Apocalypse in the sense that it seems to just change every 20 minutes. Not even every 20.
What was that gag about?
I don't know.
She ran up to a manhole cover, lifted it up, and What's New Pussycat starts playing out of it, and then Bernard Cribbins sort of stamps it down and goes, no time.
Well, Feldman, I think, had produced What's New Pussycat, the film. So
that is a rubbish joke.
So maybe it was just a little callback to that.
Hey, do you remember that time I made a slightly better movie that was still nonsensical? Orson, my man.
Here he is. Here's everyone's favourite wine salesman.
He stood 6'6" and weighed 345.
I've just realised the bloke on the phone, not Orson Welles,
Him.
is from Russia with Love.
Is he?
He's the chess guy.
Oh crap! Yeah, he is.
Kronstein.
Blimey.
And he
Well, that's it then. It's canon.
Well, he dies in that too. So unless he dies, he's like Kenny. He's like the Kenny of James Bond. He just comes to die. The Scorpion starts playing Winds of Change.
David Hasselhoff comes in on a motorised scooter, looking for freedom.
Oh dear me. Oh yeah, I forgot.
Len Pounds in the background.
By this time, you've probably forgotten that Peter Sellers was in the film.
Peter Sellers was in a film?
Well, no, considering that he. These days, they'd arrest you for that. It's political correctness gone mad.
Yeah, can't even punch an international border check person in the face anymore. It's a disgrace.
Can't even
thank God we're getting Brexit done.
You can't even punch a communist in the face these days without the PC brigade going at you.
Oh, it's morally questionable to attack the left.
They've banned Christmas now, Dan.
They've banned Christmas. And they're coming for you next, Ben.
Now,
or should I say Benjamin?
Or should I say comrade? Now, Dan, why are they having a load of women in PVCs washing the car?
Because this was actually, fun fact, Ben, this was actually filmed for the Italian market, and when it reached Italy, they just inserted a load of hardcore porn scenes into this film and called it Sexy Adventure of the Movie.
They called it Sexy Boob Fun Time.
Yes.
And then in brackets, Bond, look out! !
You know, right? Actually, funnily enough, this is true. There's a film I'm reviewing at the minute on my channel. It's called Massacre at Central High, and it's basically a drama that sort of sets up the equivalent of the Columbine shootings. It's a horrible film. It's quite well made, but you couldn't make it now. Is basically the problem.
That doesn't sound very nice.
No, but when the film got to Italy, the Italians, God bless their souls, they took one look at the film and thought, you know what this film needs? Hardcore porn. So they inserted 5 hardcore sex scenes into the film and changed the name of the film to Sexy Jeans.
Who can blame them? I mean, that's what any film could use that, really.
Hi,
Italians. My name is Steven Spielberg. I've made a film. It's called Schindler's List. What do you reckon? It is very good, but we need to see more of the boobies.
How about a bum bum?
In the bit where he shoots the Jews in the camp, maybe have a naked woman run there.
Yeah.
That's how Italians sound.
we can get Pino Donaggio to do the soundtrack. It'll be ace.
I've made this film called Freds. It's about nuclear war. Yes, it is very good, but what we need is more titty.
We will not buy the film. Can we change the name to Sexy Threads?
Can we change the film to Sex Bomb?
I like it.
Maybe
and we'll get
the scene where she bites the placenta with her teeth. Maybe have a woman running around while the Penthouse theme plays in the background.
Maybe have a flashback where they show you making the baby. And we can get Pino Donaggio to do the soundtrack. It'd be great.
He's a very busy man, apparently.
He is, when he wasn't scoring Twin Peaks and the entire works of Tinto Brass.
Angelo Badalamenti did Twin Peaks.
Pino Donaggio also did some work on Twin Peaks.
Did he?
Apparently so, according to IMDb. Oh. But that lies, so I could be wrong.
I was going to say, I thought Angelo... Twin Peaks was scored
telling a lie. I'm telling a lie. Ben, slap me in the face. I am a liar and a thief. Pino Donaggio did not do the music to Twin Peaks. He did do the music to Carrie, though.
They just roofied each other. It was the 60s. That was allowed. If it makes you feel any better, that was a tab of pure mescaline.
He's gonna sleep tonight.
And for the rest of his life.
Somebody's gonna have a tummy ache. How's your sleeping problem, by the way, Ben? You've been up for what, 5 days now?
Well, when you told me we were watching this, I obviously couldn't sleep through sheer excitement.
Well, me neither.
Uh-oh, it's psychedelic dream time.
Oh God.
What?
This feels like one of those.
The whole film should have been this.
Why have it suddenly turned into a 1920s RKO production?
It wouldn't be a nonsense film or 60s nonsense film without a bit where, nonsense happens.
Here's James Bond, he's going to the casino, he's going to meet Orson Welles. They're going to play baccarat and he will win, and then Woody Allen eats a bomb.
Spoilers.
Oh, yes. Technically, our audience will have hit 0 by now, so technically, if you want to say whatever you want, feel free.
This is a bit like... it's a bit like the bit in Vertigo where James Stewart has that nightmare, except with more boobies.
Oh, yeah.
That was obviously the inspiration here.
The Italians were at it again. Omega.
Do you realise that the woman in that scene who drugged him was called Giovanni Goodfires?
She certainly was.
Already by this point, they're making fun of the sexy names that the Bond girls have.
When does that tie down? There comes a point where they stop doing that, really, isn't there?
2006.
Oh, blimey. Good bit to go yet.
Ironically, when they remake this film. Well, they don't remake this film, they remake the book.
What are you talking about, Ben? I saw Casino Royale in the cinema. It was Daniel Craig literally doing a shot-for-shot remake of this film, but instead of there being multiple Bonds, it was just him doing all of it.
That's what he should do for his last film. Instead of No Time to Die, which isn't coming out for another 7 years at this rate.
It'd be great. We might actually get to see it in real time.
Christ. They should just make this film again. And use CGI to bring back Orson Welles.
Yeah. In fairness, I mean, you don't need to have Peter Sellers in this, in fairness, but...
To be fair, Orson Welles is a pretty... if you were doing a straight version of the novel, Orson Welles isn't a bad choice to play Le Chiffre. But he did turn up on the set and ask if he could do magic tricks. That was not in the... that was not in the script.
I'm not going to complain if he wants to. I love that lighting choice.
I just love the idea of Orson Welles rocking up with his cigar and all his nonsense and saying,
all right, I have 30 minutes before I'm due on set to record an advert for Mrs. Pell's fish sticks. Let's make this quick.
So Orson, I think he did that instead of reading the script. So Orson in this scene, yes, I know, but look what I can do. He pulls like a penny out of his ear. Yes, Orson, that's very nice, but so in this scene, yes, I'm well aware of that young man, but look at this. And he just makes a cigar go in his hand or something.
You know, they robbed me with Ambersons.
Did you know I am a demon? I cannot die.
I am Pazuzu.
Peter Sellers was apparently very superstitious, and he didn't like the fact that Orson Welles did magic tricks. I'm just picturing him like just going up to the director, whoever was fucking directing this scene, one of the 20 directors, and just going, "You have to get him off the set. He's a demon."
This Orson chap, I don't like him. He keeps trying to sell me cheap wine, and I'm sure he's in with the occult.
He's a hell monster. He must be stopped.
You know, this actually wasn't an on-set trick. Orson just did this.
I like to think that's true.
Whoa! I'd go drinking with Orson Welles. He seems like a righteous dude.
I like Orson Welles. He seems like a, I don't like all his work, but he always seemed like a very entertaining raconteur, if you know what I mean. Like, it's not surprising to me that he flogged so much tat in the 70s and 80s because he was pretty good at it.
Oh, understandably. I imagine if he had a couple of pints in him, he'd have some stories to tell.
I was like your idea that Orson drinking pints.
Yeah. You tell me Orson Welles comes to the UK and he doesn't have a pint. I call you a liar, sir.
There's so many.
Orson would be freebasing Cronenberg. That's his drink.
Do you reckon he was doing that when he did the War of the Worlds broadcast?
Yes.
Oh, those silly twats! They think aliens are real. all our,
Glug,
all,
glug,
our,
glug, 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 glug,
all,
glug.
our, all our drunk characters have the same laugh noise.
They do. It's because it's a very good sound.
Look at this, like all Americans are like running out of their homes. He's like, look at them twats. Tossers, mate, tossers.
Anyway, I'm off to Africa for 6 months.
I'm off to teach the natives how to play Hamlet.
Meanwhile, in the same pub across the way, Peter Sellers is sat on his own.
He apparently he went on Dick Cavett and talked about how he met Winston Churchill and Hitler.
Oh, wow.
Not at the same time. That would have been exceptional.
That would have been exceptional, yes.
Did you know World War II ended because of me? And started because of me?
Ended World War One and started World War Two.
And continued mainly because of me.
And in a few years I shall return and start World War Three.
So, Peter Sellers and Orson Welles.
Yes, do tell, Ben. Do tell.
They were not what you'd call busy mates. By all accounts, Sellers did not like Orson Welles, and Orson Welles kept calling Peter Sellers a hopeless amateur, to the point where you'll notice they are not in the same shot together ever. That's because when they are talking to each other, they're not talking to each other.
Oh.
They literally refuse to act together.
Wow.
Yeah. That's
petty.
It is petty, and the worst, the most, I think the straw that broke the camel's back is when Princess Anne or Princess Margaret, one of them, visited the set this day.
Right.
To observe the chaos, and she apparently snubbed Peter Sellers in favour of Orson Welles. Like, she went up to him and was like, Orson, like, just like fangirling, basically.
I mean, if you're going to meet one of them.
And Peter Sellers got very, very upset with that because he felt he'd been snubbed by a royal, and he blamed Orson for it. So he basically decided Orson Welles was now a hell demon who does evil magic tricks, and I'm not appearing in the same scene as him.
Orson Welles must die.
I just love that. Is just the height of pettiness, and I bet it was fun that day on the set.
Oh, I can just begin to picture the bliss that must have taken place on that. That director must have been freebasing some pretty intense shit. Is all I'm going to say. Because I think that's the only way you'd cope with being on set with something like this going on.
So, like, all this stuff now that we're about to watch, where it's like a shot reverse shot, cut from Peter Sellers to Orson and back again, they're never looking at each other at any point.
So, Ben, what happened to Woody Allen?
His Amazon wouldn't bring his film out, and he sued them.
Oh, right. No, I meant in this film.
Oh, he got shot by the Spaniards.
Oh, right, okay, fair enough.
I like to think that, like, in the shots of Peter Sellers talking, there's like a cardboard cutout of Orson Welles with like a knob drawn on it, which he insisted on.
Oh no, I was thinking the opposite. I was thinking he just had a really, really crude drawing, like somebody like a 6-year-old had drawn just a picture of Orson Welles.
Yeah,
and that was his motivation.
And instead of referring to him as Lashif in the scene, he calls him Twatty Twatty McFatface.
Yes, which they had to ADR later with David Niven.
If you look at his lips, he's clearly saying Twatty Twatty McFatface.
You can do slow-mo on that and zoom in and you'll have it. Ben's a Bond head, so he should know all of this.
Hey guys. But yeah, Orson Welles is great in this scene, and I'm. It's hard for me to say because obviously I wasn't there, but by all accounts, I think that Orson came out of the whole thing a little classier than Sellers did.
Oh yeah.
Well, I mean,
absolutely.
I mean, Orson Welles didn't abandon the film for 3 weeks and then come back wondering why they'd killed him off.
I mean, he did shoot 16 commercials in between this film, but
he filmed one on his lunch.
Snap, crackle, pop, Rice Krispies.
Ah, the French. The French. Champagne. Yeah. Hey, the film's getting the theatre.
Look upon us, viewers, as two people who can't do Orson Welles accents try their damnedest to sound like Orson Welles.
The film just got the fear then, did you see that?
It did, which was quite nice. It very briefly slowly dropped into head mode again.
You can kind of tell, can't you, the eye lines don't quite match.
No.
They're in that shot
How did they do
together.
that scene?
Yeah. They had, with great reluctance, I suspect.
They had to maintain a 4-meter distance, otherwise they would have killed each other.
Yeah.
It's like when you put two cats in a bag.
See, if a royal like goes to a set, doesn't pay you any attention, well, why would you not blame the royal instead of the guy who she's paying attention to?
Oh yeah, I'd be like, oh, she's a knobhead. Never mind then.
Why did Peter Sellers go up to Princess Anne and punch her in the face violently, like he did with that airport guy?
The thing that I like to think happened is that Princess Anne went back to the palace after this meeting and was like, oh, Mummy, Daddy, you've got to take me out to this beautiful Casino Royale film. Orson Welles is in it. I've heard it's really good.
See, the thing is, if you visited the set this day, you probably would assume that it was just a straightforward... Because nothing, apart from all the psychedelic flashes that happened just then, and the magic tricks... I realise what I've just said. Apart from the flashes of colour and the magic tricks and the demon powers, this is quite a normal film, Dan.
I wonder what Prince Philip makes of this film. I reckon he watches it every Christmas.
I reckon the Queen fired her servants the day she saw this. Burn Leicester Square down.
The Queen has only ever been to 2 films since then, Planet of the Apes
It has been tainted.
Blue Velvet, so...
It's been tainted by filthy hippies.
The British film industry will never recover.
That is a fair assessment to make after viewing this film.
In fairness, like what came out in British cinema after this? The On the Buzzes movie.
Not really. Not really a British
The House That
film.
Dripped Blood.
You can't really... And this is true of the Bond films, the main Bond films as well. They're not really British films in the true sense. They have British actors in them, but they're made by an American company.
Sorry, Ben, are you doing your best Uncle Monty impersonation? Oh, you went to Ealing.
Ealing?
Oh, you're from Pinewood. Well, it takes all sorts to make the world, I suppose.
Look, I remember them doing a big thing about this actually in college. When we were talking about British films and someone said the Bond films, and the lecturer was like, no, they're not British in any way, shape or form. Really, they're made by United Artists.
I mean, I suppose it could be argued as well when you get to Roger Moore Bond, a lot more Americanized action film tropes seep in.
I wouldn't even go that far. It was Americanized from day one. I mean,
well, yeah. You look at comparatively with the Connery era. It's a lot less sort of espionage heavy and more action explosions, flipping cars.
I would say that the Daniel Craig films are probably the most quote unquote British, considering that about 70% of Skyfall is set in Britain. But yeah.
But we won't be getting to those films until 2028.
No,
so
well, we'll all be dead by coronavirus by then.
Well, hey,
Orson Welles made that tiger move.
Why did that tiger's tongue move?
He must be burnt. He is a witch. That's Peter Sellers saying that.
Fades to black and a caption comes up: the Vitch.
Take him to the Wicker Horse.
Burn him!
Quick! He comes in one day with a burning torch. We have to kill Orson Welles. How did you know he was a demon? He's a demon?
Ah!
Yes. Demon.
This was my plan all along. That is not a real casino.
Well, no, it's not, Dad. It's a film.
Oh yeah, forgot about that.
It's not. This you forgot you were watching a documentary for a moment.
It's just so real.
This is Ken Loach. This is one of Ken Loach's favourite films. You know.
He did Kathy Come Home just after this.
This is a sterling example of socio-realism. Especially the bit where Orson Welles made the woman disappear.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for coming to my TED Talk today on socio-economic climate problems and its effects on the 1967 film Casino Royale.
Now, Mr. Sellers, we're going to fit you for your Senna costume today.
What the fuck is happening?
Obviously, that was a bit of improvisation there that they just chucked in because they didn't know how to end the scene.
Why is he... Ben, what is happening?
Well, he's been captured by the bloke from Transformers the movie.
But how?
There's a really good Orson Welles film I saw recently that you'd like.
Go on.
It's called F is for Fake. Have you ever seen it?
I'm going to look it up, which means I haven't seen it, but I'm going to look it up now.
It was one of the last things he did before he just sort of gave up directing at some point and just did wine adverts. Oh, this is great! Look, they incense and peppermints him to death.
Who cares what games we choose?
If F is for Fake is basically a documentary by Orson Welles, but the way it's shot, it's basically like, you know how like your typical YouTube video essay thing with like lots of fast clips and text and jokes and things like that.
Yeah.
Well, Orson Welles invented that.
Oh wow.
That's what F for Fake is like. It was made in like '73, but it looks exactly like a YouTube series. It's really weird.
This is a perfect. Whoa, God, he's gone to Hammer Vision.
Okay,
I'm getting the fear.
I've got a tummy ache now.
I've just been sick.
I'm just. You didn't hear it? That was the sound of sickness.
It was.
This is great. This would be like, you know. This might work maybe as like the background visuals for a Pink Floyd show.
Well, you see, I'm just seeing like a Hammer Dracula film or something. That's terrifying.
See, the thing is, these effects are all really good, but they're just wasted because they're in this film.
Mm. I love Google, by the way. I've just looked up F is for Fake, and I got F is for Fake, a 1973 film.
Yeah.
F is for Fake was produced in 1974 and released in 2012.
Yeah, that's right.
What?
It didn't come out on video until that time.
Oh right, it's just how in one sentence it went. F is for Fake is a 1973 movie produced in 1974 and released in 2012.
Well, to be fair, a lot of Orson Welles' films were like that, weren't they? They were stuck in like legal limbo for years and years and years. He didn't finish his last one. Netflix had to finish it for him.
Blimey.
Which you should watch. You should watch that as well. The Other Side of Midnight. It's really good. I give it 5 bags. Anyway, it's
yeah, we're back in the nightmare world.
AKA the film.
This was where I stopped paying attention to him and I thought he'd just disappeared after this scene.
So I know I said I wouldn't. And there's Peter O'Toole. I mean, sure, why not? Sure, okay. And,
okay, fine.
So I know I said I wouldn't talk about what happens in the book, but in the book, Bond is captured by Le Chiffre and is tortured in a chair by, as depicted in the Daniel Craig film, they throw a rope on his testicles, and it's really
yes,
and it's really graphic and dark and horrible. And in this film, they said, instead of that, why don't we just have a load of nonsense happen?
Bring in the tart and terrors. Sorted.
The tart and terrors.
Ah!
Nice.
Ben, you just won the commentary. You can sign off now and you don't have to watch any more Casino Royale. I'll finish up from here.
This video should be called Tarts and Terrors Casino Royale.
I'm sure I saw a magazine called that in my top shelf of my newsagents.
That could have been the tagline.
What? What?
Look, if you watch it, if you've watched so far this point in the film, you're not really. Just let it happen.
All right.
He has magic come through the telly and shoot you powers.
Well, that got rid of him, I suppose. That saved half an hour on the runtime.
Really turns her on.
Yes, actually, my finishing school did teach me that. The streets taught me this language, though.
The streets taught me this language. Fuck off, you fucking cunt. I'll kick your fucking head in.
Channeling your inner Alexi Sale there. Very nicely handled.
Hello, John. Got a new motor?
Hello, John. Got a new motor? You can make a model out of that.
Uh-oh. I think something dastardly is afoot.
Ben, this is Casino Royale. How dastardly can it be?
Well, at least she's not going to be attacked by bagpipes while the Pink Floyd Experience plays in the background.
She got picked up and carried off by a guardsman. And here comes the Dalek invasion of Earth, just in time.
Now, you were slightly wrong when you messaged me about this last night. Because you said they were aliens. They're not.
Yes.
They're not technically aliens. They're just the baddies. Just happen to use a UFO. Why a UFO, Dan? Well, that's a question for the ages. But it very, very much is starting. That looks very similar to the Dalek invasion. Not the TV version, the Peter Cushing one. Doesn't it?
Yeah, oh yeah. We will do those films at some point, by the way.
Londoners look very nonplussed by what they're seeing.
Yeah, they're all just like, oh, they're all pissed, Ben.
Oh, look at that.
It's the mid-1960s. You can still technically get cocaine on a prescription.
Oh, look, Governor, a UFO. What time's Edgar's on?
Cool, blimey, a flying saucer. I need to get drunk.
That's not specific to London. That's specific to everywhere in England for any situation ever. Oh, look, it's Thursday. Time to get drunk.
Cool, blimey, a nun. Let's get drunk.
Oh, look, the kids have come home from school. Time to get drunk.
Way! Stone the crows.
Oh, look, the sky's blue today. You know what that means?
Whiskey, whiskey.
Whiskey, drink time.
Glug, glug, glug.
Gluggy,
Chug,
gluggy,
chug,
glug, glug. Time to drink the mushy mush. That's
glug, glug, glug. Chug, chug, chug. Happy then.
That's what they say.
They do. And then they wake up in the morning the next day and they're all hungover and they're like, oh, God, I'm never drinking again. But then they start drinking again.
I know that asking,
and it's great.
I know that asking questions at this point is basically redundant, but how did a nun gain access to MI5 Universal Exports headquarters? That is very Doctor Who-y, isn't it? Look at that.
It's very Doctor Who, Jerry Anderson. It's got a bit of a Thunderbirds vibe to me.
I keep meaning to say Jerry Anderson, and it keeps escaping me, and I don't know why. I'm sorry, Jerry Anderson.
It's okay. I keep finding it for you, so we're doing fine. I
wouldn't be surprised if David Niven turned up now in Thunderbird 2.
Yeah. Oh no. If anything, I'd just be like, okay.
With that music behind him. She's changed her outfit
again,
and had a haircut.
She had a haircut before.
Oh.
But yes, at some point between Peter Sellers and Orson Welles having a fist fight in front of Princess Anne, she did have a haircut.
Bring the toddy to us. I obey.
Toddy. Toddy.
Toddy.
What would a Dalek do with Toddy anyway?
Bring me Orson Welles. He must be exterminated.
Do you want us to capture Peter Sellers? No. Only Orson.
No, can't be asked with that prick.
He falls out with Orson Welles because the Daleks won't abduct him.
I say, why didn't those Daleks exterminate me? Out of order.
It's that damn Orson's fault. You know he's in the occult.
It's that Orson's fault. He's so large, he makes an easy target.
I don't even think he's a Christian.
Because he was fat.
Yeah, he likes pies. And I can say that as a hefty man myself.
And I can say that as a man on my way to being hefty.
Well, hey. Ah, the old fall over and trip everyone up in the way trick.
Ah, of course, the old bollocks trick. Works every time.
Surely that's just this film.
And now we seem to have entered the film The Man in Uncle.
Okay, so
Man
Ben,
from
picture
Uncle.
the scene. It's 1967, and you're the age you are now. And
Oh my god!
You're an up and
The
comer.
film is hypnotising us into liking it.
And you see
They've
in
just
the
entered
listings
in, like,
in your local newspaper a listing for Casino Royale playing at your nearest Odeon. You go and see this in 1967. What is your immediate thought, having come off the back of just a load of straight Bond films?
Well, if I was in 1967, when seeing this film, my thoughts would probably be, "Whoa, man, she looks green."
She's very green.
We've just entered the film in like Flint for a moment.
Oh, great! We're in that television ident.
That's a great set, though. All these like eye motifs and yeah.
I keep hearing da 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 dum dum dum.
I'm being a stupid here. What's that you're doing?
It's I need to find the logo. It was a regional ITV station, and the name is escaping me. Oh, let me think. Was it ICN? Oh,
ITV.
bloody hell! Somebody in the comments correct me.
ATV.
What was this logo?
ATV.
ATV.
Yeah, it was ATV.
It was ATV
It was.
regional television. Regional TV. Let me double check it.
I'm convinced it's ATV you're talking
It was ATV. Yes. Thank you,
Yes.
Ben. Thank you.
What do I win?
You have won bragging rights over me for the rest of the film.
You get to keep watching the film.
You get to watch. You get to see Woody Allen, who's suddenly turned up again.
Woody Allen was another one who, not the only actor in this film by any means, who was just deeply unimpressed with everything that was going on and offered to do some rewrites. But I don't think any of his actual contributions made it into the film.
Blimey. I don't trust anybody in the top who didn't include any of his stuff.
Oh, I forgot about that as well. More Peter Sellers pettiness. He got someone to rewrite all his dialogue.
Right.
But not everyone else's dialogue, just his.
Blimey.
Oh, and the baddie's got Dr. Noah in this, get it?
Noah, I barely met her. That was the exact reaction deserving of that joke, Ben. Thank you.
So that's your plan. Oh, that's his plan. It's a gas that makes all women beautiful and destroys all men over 5'6". That's quite
I mean,
funny.
that puts me in a bad position because I'm 5'11", nearly 6. In fact, some days I am 6.
But to be fair, a gas that makes all women beautiful. I mean, I think the pros outweigh the cons here, really, Dan. I mean, I'm prepared for you to make some sacrifices.
Well, I mean, you'd be dead too, so...
No, I wouldn't. Not if I wore very big shoes.
Ah, okay, a workaround. I just have to put shoes on and I'm 6 foot, so okay.
No, it doesn't work for you.
Oh.
Works for me,
All
but
right.
not you.
Only I may be tall.
The evil gas is specifically designed that way.
Meanwhile, in this room...
Oh yeah, remember her? She was in that one bit.
Yeah, well now she's in her undercrackers stapled to a chair.
That's how I sleep.
I'm doing that now.
I feel sorry for her.
Yeah.
Those must have
had
been
a really
so cold.
Very cold, and she's also had a bit of a raw deal in this film. All she's been done is thrown about and stripped naked and tied to a table. That's a good joke.
There's lots of good jokes in this. But then for every good joke, there's just 10 streams of nonsense flies at you.
Oh, God. The only mercy that I have, Ben, is I've just looked at the timer and I realise we've got about 15 minutes left.
You know how this film had 5 directors? How many
Yes.
people do you reckon worked on the script? I'll give you a clue. It was more than one.
God damn. Would a single contribution count them as a scriptwriter?
Wikipedia, I think there's 6 credited writers, but Wikipedia reckons that there were at least 13 if you count uncredited contributions.
Jeez.
13 people worked on set.
God damn.
Did they just work on a scene each?
They worked on a bloody sequence each.
I think every individual frame had someone different working on it.
Well, like I say, I did at least one frame on my gap year.
Now, Woody, when you're playing the piano, we're going to get Stanley Kubrick to direct this bit. And when you punch the David Niven punching bag, David Lynch is doing it.
I'm looking forward to the Pedro Almodovar sequence. He is a very good physical actor, is our Woody.
Yeah, which is a quality he kind of, like I say, sort of shied away from, didn't he, in later years?
Yeah, like I say, from around about the mid-70s, maybe a little bit later, late 70s, he went very much more into straight films. But he did have a nice transition period. Like I say, Broadway Danny Rose is probably, to me, his last really, really great film. The last one where I watched it and I was like, this is something more than just a comedy, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because it sort of balances that line between comedy and drama, but it's very well made.
So he's just produced the end the film pill there, which I believe is what it's
the
called.
MacGuffin, brilliant.
I believe to give it its proper name. He does pretty well with what he's given.
Oh yeah.
Which, like I say, isn't a lot.
Let me just have a look at his filmography, because I'm trying to figure out whether this was before or after What's Up Tiger Lily.
Probably around the same time, I'd say, or
it
at least
was after.
It was after, right?
But only by 6 months. Like What's Up Tiger Lily came out in November 1966.
Well, this came out in April '67, so they probably would have shot it around late '66, wouldn't they?
Hmm.
Even though, like we say, it's violently 1967. By all
It's
accounts.
offensively 1967, yes. And in 2 years' time, he would make his first film as a director and writer, which is Take the Money and Run, which is a very good film. You'll have to borrow it off me sometime if you haven't already seen it.
I'm pretty sure in this scene, someone says, "Careful, it's highly dangerous lysergic acid." So there's a deliberate LSD reference.
Delicious. Robots.
It's the war machines.
I'm seeing double here. 4 actresses.
Because we don't know her name. I'm seeing double. 4 ladies. the shot of like Castro and Chairman Mao and everyone. You know what it reminds me of?
Go on.
That Monty Python sketch. And the first question is for you, Karl Marx. The hammers. Do you remember that?
No, I don't.
You don't?
I don't. No, it's been a while since I've
classic.
dropped on the Pythons, unfortunately.
The Communist Leaders World Quiz, where it's like a TV show. It's like tonight we have Chairman Mao, Karl Marx, and oh, this is funny. That's funny. That's properly daft. Oh, everyone's roofing well, it was the 60s.
Yeah.
Everyone's roofing each other.
If you weren't being spiked, you weren't there, man.
If you can remember the 60s, you're a old fart.
You're really old and possibly dead.
I believe that's how the saying goes.
Yeah.
I noticed the Dan, you might know more about this than me. The quality of the film like degraded because of that little cartoon effect.
Yes. It's because what they'd have to do is strike a duplicate and then they would hand paint onto the cells sometimes. So they'd create like a separate layer of acetate that would go over the film stock that would have hand-drawn animation on each cell.
That was proper monkeys, that wasn't it? When they were sped up.
Mm.
So I know that it's tempting to say this is the bit where the film goes off the rails, but that's suggesting it was on the rails to begin with.
Ben, what have we watched? An hour and a half ago, we were in Scotland watching a man throw his balls around.
Well, this is the bit where Woody Allen takes a pill which ends the film.
I'd have preferred it if he'd have just taken a credits pill that just started the film's credits. What is happening?
We're in... the fembots are attacking, that's what's happening.
That would have probably been an ever so slightly funnier joke. He takes a pill that causes the credits to prematurely start, and they've got to finish the film before the credits end, otherwise the film stops. They take a look at the credits and like, oh no, we're up to catering. We've only got like 3 minutes left.
That's a good idea. We'll do that when we do our crazy... That's Dave Prowse, by the way.
Really? He's on his way to go and film Decca versus Dracula.
He's on his way to go film the Green Cross Code Man.
Oh, brilliant. Is this before the makeup or after?
Have I told the story on this of when I met Dave Prowse?
No, you haven't, I don't think.
Okay, I will tell the story of when I met Dave Prowse. It was very sad because he was very old and blind. But and everyone was going up to him. This was a convention, I should say, not on the set of Casino Royale. And everyone was going on at him about Darth Vader, obviously. And when I meet people at conventions, I always try and be a bit of a smart ass and try and pick something like not as known or obscure. I should have said this, really, in hindsight. You were great in that one shot.
You were the best Frankensteins in Casino Royale.
You were the best cameo I've ever seen in a film that consists of nothing but cameos. But I mentioned his bit in A Clockwork Orange, and then he did the first thing he'd done all day. He'd spoke for more than 5 minutes.
Oh wow!
About working with Stanley Kubrick and about having an argument with him, and it was really great.
Oh,
but it was sad because he was very obviously deteriorating. Like, he was very old. He's still very old, and obviously very blind. It was pretty sad.
Oh, blimey! Yeah, I mean, I met him too, but only in passing, and he basically creaked at me, and that was about it.
Yeah, that's basically what he was doing with. Okay, I think the channel changed. I think there's another film on.
Why? What is happening?
That's what he was doing, by the way, with like everyone else who was going up to him, like, "Oh, you're great, Darth Vader."
Where's Peter Sellers gone?
Peter Sellers has been sacked. That's where he's gone.
Where is he?
He's been sacked.
It makes me mad. Mad.
Oh, those are the true stars of the film.
Oh yeah.
I wanna fly
Seal
like
Man.
an eagle. Get it? 'Cause seal.
Yeah. What is happening? What is that?
I don't see the problem, to be honest. I think this is...
Why are there bubbles now?
I don't really see the problem. I think this is a perfectly... I mean, Dan, if you've never been to a casino...
Why is there a monkey in a toupee?
Dan, this is exactly what being in a casino is like. If you take several tabs of mescaline before... Look, even David Niven is just smiling. He knows how bollocks this all is.
This is just... Oh, God, my mind. Oh, Ben,
To be fair, Dan, look, put it this way. How else do you end a film like this?
There's a green donkey.
How would you have ended it?
Why is there a dog?
There's a dog with James Bond. How?
Why are the ladies painted gold?
That's a sly... It's not even a subtle reference, is it? It's just a reference.
No. Why are there offensive stereotypes of Native Americans jumping out of planes?
Dan, it was allowed back then. It was legal.
Why do the cowboys have ping pong ball guns?
Wonder what it was like shooting this. This must have been such a horrible long day.
I feel so sorry for the editors.
The editors? They had the time of their lives. Cutting together all this shit.
They've got to go through all the rushes of this.
It would have been cool to have been there on the day, to have just observed the chaos.
Now, Ben, one question I do need to ask you is the cowboys and Indians that turn up in this film. Where were they previously mentioned in this film?
They were in the plane, Dan.
No, but like before they jumped out of the plane and rode in on the horses, where were they in this film?
They were in the plane, Dan.
Okay, I appreciate that they were in the plane, Ben, but like were they mentioned at the beginning in Scotland or?
They were in the plane, Dan. That's the guy from Breathless. That's Jean-Paul Belmondo. He was in the plane too. Oh, sacre bleu! Did I mention I am extremely French? Dan, I think the Cosme thing broke. It just cut to a Keystone Cops film. Have you got another stream on in the background? You know what? My question still stands to you, which you've not answered. How else do you end a film like this?
You do my idea where he takes a tablet that starts the credits early and then everybody has a mad panic because they've got to try and figure out how the film ends. You break the fourth wall and spend the next 5 minutes desperately trying to make an ending, which wouldn't be any less crazy than this, but would be more sensical.
But then, Dan, you don't get a scene where a dog with a 007 band on bites a man's arse, and then where would we? Where would we be?
Or we have a UFO roulette wheel, or a monkey in a toupee eating things off the stage, or whatever that is. Why have they got semi-automatic bows and arrows?
I mean, the film's basically just collapsed. Like
it's not just collapsed; it's just disintegrated.
It's like the celluloid reel is physically, tangibly fallen apart.
I just...
That's how you end every film in 1967.
On Earth.
The local rock group down the street is trying hard to learn their song. I'm just going to sing for the rest of the commentary to fill Dan's shock silence. There's Peter Sellers.
Dan Ben watched Casino Royale. It was really weird and it can go to hell. Dan won't be watching Casino Royale again.
The film literally goes to hell at the end. Oh, Casino Royale. Here are the credits of the film. Oh, James Bond, look out. There's some birds. Starring Woody Allen. Ransom. Every film should end with a dance sequence. Every film. The boy in the striped pajamas would have been vastly improved by a dance sequence.
What happened?
Do you reckon that's how The Day the Clown Cried ended? That Jerry Lewis film that no one's seen.
Yes.
We should do that next.
Yes. We'll get it done.
A Casino Royale. There should be every film as well should have a theme song which explicitly has the title in it.
They were hoping to get Scott Walker in to do the end theme, but he was busy doing Tilt.
They go to Casino Royale and lots of stuff happens.
That wouldn't be period accurate. You'd actually be doing Scott 3, Scott 4 around then, but you get the idea.
It was a little bit mental. They've got us on the run.
Did you see the monkey in the end?
That was a bit fucking too much.
I need to sit down for an hour.
Now, Dan, flash yourself to the like I said, the Columbia Studios brass, watching that in the screening room, and Charles Feldman going, so, what do you think?
I'm envisioning Johnny Depp's Ed Wood.
I'm thinking 2, maybe 3 Oscars. Maybe 4.
So, that was the picture. What did you think? Worst movie you've ever seen? Well, my next one will be better.
Well, sadly, Dan, the story of Charles Feldman ends there. He died of a heart attack 2 years later.
Thank fuck for that.